Yes, sir. How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast.
We're live, sir. You did that to yourself. You tried to get me, but you did that to yourself. Perfect start to the new season.
You know, Mike, I was trying to get the pod started on time for the first time probably all season, sir.
I don't know whose fault that is. Maybe mine.
Well, we had the headphone dilemma. You know, the season 3 starting off real strong, right?
Yeah, I know. Of course, it had to start with some kind of technical issue. We have no idea. Just all of a sudden, the headphones don't work.
Yeah, wasn't expecting that. I couldn't hear a single thing you were saying, and I had to go old school with the wired headphones. But here we are, Mike. We made it. 3 years strong, my friend.
I know. It's crazy. Year 3, draft 3. And you know what's crazy? First year, dream scenario. Well, you know, we're trying to make it realistic. So CeeDee Lamb's not going to drop. So I didn't pick him.
Yeah.
So like, that'll never happen. And then last year's like nightmare scenario was Micah Parsons. Oops. And now I have his jersey on. Whoops.
It's pretty crazy, man. We've had some interesting calls, like experiences just with these mock draft episodes alone, bro.
I know it's crazy. I wish we could have done a few more, but
yeah.
You know, the draft came up quick. I felt like last year I did 10 times more articles
than
I did this year. It just kind of it flew up on us. It was insane. I don't know if it's because Dak went out last year, and so basically halfway through the year we were like
we were talking draft like still what the regular season was going on, dude. So
yeah, exactly. But man, this draft season just seemed to go ludicrously fast. I will be looking this way. I am a Lakers fan. I just love Luka. He's literally a Mavs fan. I just love Luka, so I'm watching because I want Dallas to win because I like Luka. But we're all us, the people that watch, most of you guys are Mavs fans because you're in Texas. So we're all watching and hoping the Mavs win together. So that's a nice plus.
You know, I really thought we were going to win game 3, man. I thought Dinwiddie was going to hit that wide open 3, but, you know, it didn't. Of course, it didn't work out that way, but it's been a good series. I kind of didn't want Luka to be rushed back. He looked really good. I mean, dude scored 30 points after missing 3 games, but I don't know. I didn't want to rush him back, but you know, anytime if a top 5 player says he's ready, you got to let him play, right?
Yeah. Yep. You let him, especially at this time. This is it. You know what I mean? You lose, you go home. He could rest after that. It's not something, you know, like just God, knock on wood. Just don't let it Kevin Durant, you know, where the calf leads to something worse. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not trying to criticize Ben Simmons, but you look at the difference in Ben Simmons' attitude about playing and Luka Doncic's attitude about playing. It's a stark difference, and I'm glad I have a guy like Luka on my team.
Yeah, add Kyrie Irving to that too. You know what I mean? You can find reasons not to get out there and stuff like. Everybody knows mental health matters.
Oh, you know, of course,
and you need to, but man, just he doesn't play a lot. You know, he misses a game, just goes home. You know, I don't know, just a lot. Not the type of player that I want on my. I just feel he's different than Dak. You know, and Dak has, you know, his whole foundation is about mental health. You know, so. Kyrie Irving is not a guy I want as one of my top guys, one of my leaders on my team. I just don't feel like unless you have a LeBron James, you can't win with a guy like that.
I hear you. Well, Mike, you know, a lot of our audience is viewing this on Twitter. Let the people know where they can find you there.
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, like I said earlier, here we are with season 3 of the podcast. You know, we like every year, we will start the new season with a mock draft. But before we discuss any football, first we must discuss Meatless Monday. Mike, what was on the menu today?
We were doing good early, and then my roommate, best friend, the C and CD Piglet, Cisco, brought home pizza, and none of it was cheese. And I was trying to hurry. I'm trying to hurry through the thing. It's just no time to make stuff. So I had a slice of pepperoni pizza and kind of ruined Meatless Monday. But we had a veggie omelet early. And then for lunch, I actually just had some fruit and crackers. I wasn't very hungry because I knew I wanted to eat before the podcast. I just didn't get time to prep. And when he brought the food home, I was like, well, screw it. It's friggin' some pepperoni. I'll live.
Where
I'm
we
fat, dude. I'm like putting on weight. I need to work.
was it was it good pizza or was it your Little Caesars type?
It was. I like Little Caesars. It was
Yeah.
Little Caesars. I like Little Caesars. It wasn't like Pizza Hut or Domino's or the stuff that I won't eat. If I'm eating cheap pizza, it is definitely Little Caesars. I don't know why that one gets away because I'm like a food snob, but for some reason, Little Caesars doesn't bother me. So yeah, I had 3 slices. It just was easy to eat and be able to get it. Draft this week's going to be a lot, with all the writing and this is the first year that I'm going to be doing it and working and trying to, before I just stay up till 4 a.m. and write. I'm up anyway, I don't really sleep. But now you have to try to at least get like 2 to 4 hours of sleep because you work. You don't want to be in there all grumpy and, annoying at work with everybody. So, it's going to be interesting to see the balance of it because I know KD, relied on me a lot last year, and I would like to be there for him again this year.
Well, that's cool, man. I know it's a busy time for you. I remember when you first started this gig, man. You killed it your first year, so it's nice to see your come up with Cowboys Wire.
Yeah, that's crazy. It has been a year, because I started with draft stuff, and then I applied for draft and news desk and got both. And so I did news desk during the year, but I forgot that, it started because I got hired for the draft stuff. And so, it's a year, a little bit more than a year anniversary, maybe a year and a couple of weeks anniversary of the Cowboys Wire too. So, man, Cowboys draft stuff really pushed me a long way, dude. Verified on Twitter, like somewhere in the 5,000 range. I know I'm near that, I believe, on Twitter followers. I don't know exactly, but in that 4,000 to 5,000 range. And so it's just crazy because it started with like a couple hundred, and most of them were wrestling. Most of the Twitter people were wrestling Twitter, because I would just go on there and talk about wrestling. And then it picked up with the Cowboy stuff. And then you did all the hard work for us here. And then KD came along and boom, it's been an explosion.
Mike with the subtle flex on the 5K followers.
You have more than me. What do you mean?
I know. So I'd love to know how many of those are bots, but yeah, those are hard earned, man. But you're catching up pretty quick, my friend. I told you were going to. I said I think by this time next year, like this was maybe in the off season. I'm like, dude, you're gonna pass me soon.
I'm willing to bet that a third of them are bots. I see a lot of them are Dallas fans, but there's, dude, I get 15 message requests a day from a pair of a pretty face with cleavage going, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm
God,
delete.
Right?
Like, that's all day. I started to get, I think, because I don't click on them, they're like, this guy doesn't like big boob, good looking chicks. So now guys are starting to like. Message request, like, "Hey, what you doing?" And it's like a dude in shorts in front of his pool, and I'm like, "You're going the wrong way, guys. You had a better shot with the boobs." Not that I'm against any. Love who you want. I'm all gravy.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, right, Mike?
No, hell no. There were some good-looking guys on there. Just not my. I don't swing that way. That's all.
Well, Mike, we've already taken a left turn here in the discussion, so let me try to bring it back. We're talking draft here tonight. Looking at the draft, what position do you feel must be addressed?
Oh, I was going to get some joke in there, but you know what? Never mind. Left guard. You got to address left guard because it's the key thing about last year that brought the team down is teams could just run that shell and we couldn't run on them. And so, if you can't beat 6-man boxes, if you can't stop 4-man pass rushes, you're basically screwed. So, I'm thinking that that in the first at 24 or 56, you got to get a left guard at one of those two spots. And if you're getting one later, it needs to be a guy that maybe he's not going to develop into a star, but he could start right away, like a Cole Strange, Ed Ingram type that can come in and play right away. But I would prefer them to get one at 24 or 56.
Yeah, for me, Mike, of course, left guard being the obvious one. I feel like linebacker has to be addressed when you look at LVE, and of course, Micah. We don't want Micah to play a full-time role at linebacker. We want him to, his versatility is what made him so awesome last year. So I feel like linebacker is a position I feel must be addressed.
That's coming up for me. We're going to talk about linebacker for me in just a minute.
So, all right, well, perfect segue, Mike. Which position is due for an upgrade, Mike?
That's middle linebacker for me. We have Parsons, who's the utility designated pass rush linebacker. We have Jabril Cox coming off an injury. We all believe that he can cover and can be a good enough athlete to play 3 downs. Jerron Kearse, I don't care what anybody says. He's a linebacker. He's not a safety. He plays nickel linebacker. That's what he plays, is a big nickel. And he's the tight end eraser. He's awesome. But we need a thumper in there. Teams could just run too well on us, and LVE's not stacking and shedding guys. So I'm talking a 2-down guy. I don't care if he plays the 3rd down. I need a guy that when we play the Rams and they're running for 6 yards a carry, like just put them out there. If they want to throw on them, fine, but we got to stop them from running, and a Joshua Ross late, fits, a Darian Beavers in the mid rounds fits, Christian Harris from Alabama. You probably have to take him at 56. I don't love the value there, but he's a guy that would fit that role. So yeah, a middle linebacker. I'm looking for him to upgrade. One technique too. They need to get, Bohana's it right now. They haven't brought back Urban. They haven't signed anybody. I don't know. It's that position badly needs it, but I'm assuming that there's a guy like an Urban that they'll bring back on free agent, a vet deal.
Yeah, we can only hope so. Well, for me, Mike, I think a position that's due for an upgrade is our wide receiver 2 position. Of course, we have CeeDee Lamb, right? But, Michael Gallup, he's already starting the year off injured. James Washington, he's had a history of injury. He's still somewhat unproven. Then you've got Semi Fehoko, who we don't know how he's developing. And then it's Noah Brown as our wide receiver 5. I mean, you look at that core and it's like, man, outside of CeeDee Lamb, how comfortable are you with any of these receivers?
Yeah, I love Michael Gallup. He'll be fine, but
yeah.
I mean, this is Cowboys. He honestly could be out till week 8. They've already said he's going to be out the first few weeks, and this is a team that's like highly optimistic. Like they're talking, they always start like Dak could come back for the playoffs, and it was obvious he's going to need a full year to come back. Like they always play down the injuries.
Right.
And it's more than they say. And even then they're like, yeah, he's probably going to miss a few weeks. So you're talking, I'm guessing that he misses 5 to 6 weeks. That would be my guess. So you definitely need a upgrade at wide receiver. I agree.
So Mike, looking at these position groups here, which position do you feel is a sneaky need?
Offensive tackle. You go into the year and you're like, well, we got Tyron. Ball was a highly sought after on the field prospect. He had his off field problems. That think of how good a player has to be if you're drafting the 5th round with all the problems he had, and he still went in the 5th round. So he's a guy they think they can play swing, that he's talented enough. Steele was a lot of people were saying get rid of LC. Steele's the better right tackle. So you would think like, well, they have the bodies there, they'll be all right. But Tyron's older. Steele's on his last year of his cheap deal. We don't know Ball yet. We haven't seen him. We have high hopes for him. We haven't seen him. And we know even if Tyron is perfect that year, he's going to probably play 12 games. In a perfect season for him, he's going to miss 4 or 5 games. So, yeah, I'd say offensive tackle.
Yeah, for me, Mike, I'm actually going with the cornerback here. Of course, we know what we have in Trayvon Diggs, but then you look at both Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown are free agents after this season. We don't know what we have in Deshaun Wright, and do we know how reliable Kelvin Joseph is going to be? I'm not trying to bring up his legal problems, but just knowing that he was even in that situation, kind of knowing what he gets involved in off the field, early on, it's just you can't rely on somebody like that more often than not.
Yeah, your hope is that he comes in, that he just balls out and he's your cornerback 2 and you're good. Yeah. But even if that's the case, if things go good, can you pay him? I mean, honestly, because you're going to pay Diggs. Diggs gets interceptions. He's going to get a big bank. I don't know if they pay CeeDee Lamb, but they're going to pay Trayvon Diggs. That I'll tell you. And can you pay, Kelvin Joseph with the stuff going on? So it might be good to get ahead of it and get a corner early, especially if the right one falls to you.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, we decided that we were going to do all the way up to pick 167, and then we would talk about, kind of briefly our upside potential guys here at the end of the draft. So without further ado, talk to us about your first pick at 24.
My first pick, and I did this how I believe the Cowboys would. So this wasn't a what I like or better. I kind of did what I think is possible from a Dallas perspective. I went Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas. This was a new change for me. Zion I had as their top guy of their most realistic, then Burks, then Green, then Olave, and then I heard a lot about Karlaftis being if they really wiped out at wide receiver and offensive line, that Karlaftis would be their Parsons, which is so weird to say, but last year when they ran out of corners, and they were like, okay, we didn't get our corner that we wanted. We didn't get what we were looking for. Who's the main guy okay, Parsons. Well, I heard that's Karlaftis. If they totally run out. The reason I put Burks is the new information about Kenyon Green's knee.
Yes.
I believe that could push Burks just ahead of Green, that maybe they see Green as somebody you could trade back and still get at the end of the first. I don't know how he would make it past Tampa Bay. Personally, I think Tampa Bay might trade up for him. Like they really need that guy. So, yeah, my first pick was Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas. And for those that say like, oh, Kellen Moore don't know how to use him, then get rid of Kellen Moore. Don't tell me about that. I'm trying to get fucking good players. Kellen Moore could get a job next year at a college or an NFL team if he does really well again, and he's gone. And now we're stuck with a guy that wasn't as good because we're worried about the OC. Who cares about the OC? So give me the best guy. So I'm taking Burks.
And in Kellen Moore's defense, I mean, guys, we've got to remember how good this team was the first 9 weeks of the season, that offense. I mean, and he was getting CeeDee Lamb involved, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, Pollard, and Zeke as well, and then Cedric Wilson the season that he had. So let's cut him some slack, because that end of the season, I know it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, but he was having a really good season as an offensive coordinator.
And he did that with no real O-line. Like his O-line couldn't block 4 people. They couldn't block the run on plays where the guys had 5-6 men in the box. Like,
yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, well, Mike, I think you might have taken a look at my mock draft here, because my pick 24, I went with Treylon Burks as well.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Reason being is that I like I told you pre-roll that I did 5 mock drafts, and I noticed a trend, and the trend was that after the second round, like in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, there was not really any wide receivers I felt comfortable with that I felt that would be an upgrade at wide receiver 2. Maybe, would they even be that good as a wide receiver 3? They all seem to kind of have the same skill set. They were like really deep burners, but not a full extensive route tree, or they just weren't. They still needed some developing. So I felt more comfortable about taking a chance with a guy here who we know is going to be a good athlete and can help day one. So that's why I went with Treylon Burks here at pick 24.
I talked to Cam, Too Much Camber. If you're a Cowboys fan and you're not following her, what are you doing? At Too Much Camber, I talked to her, and she and I had different things, but it was like she had a board set for Dallas, and I told her that I believe Treylon Burks would be the pick over Green, even though they had Green higher on the board.
Yeah,
I agree with her that I believe they have Green higher on their board, but Dallas has been known if the tags are touching, that they'll look further into the draft, and you can look further in the draft and go, you have a lot better, and see that you have a lot better chance to get a guard 2nd, 3rd round that can start than you do getting a wide receiver. Maybe with the news about Pickens' character concerns, he drops to 56, but you're going to rely on that. And then you have to deal with the character concerns. If he ends up, you're like, all right, we got to take him because we need the wide receiver. So we're going to have to deal with it,
Exactly.
So I think even though Green may be a tad higher on the board than Burks, I think they would go Burks because the 2nd round has a flood of offensive tackle/guards that are possible to get in that area.
Absolutely. And, the Arkansas connection, of course, we know Jerry and the Cowboys like to make a splash on draft night. So taking somebody from his alma mater, taking a wide receiver, they love to draft wide receivers early. They would still draft night with a pick like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Treylon Burks is a 50-50 proposition, depending on if Zion Johnson and him are there.
Yeah. All right, Michael, here at pick 56, I'll go first this time. I actually selected Mr. Christian Harris, linebacker out of Alabama. I spoke earlier about the need at linebacker. We know what type of athlete that Christian Harris is and how he would complement Micah Parsons, Jabril Cox, and Jaron Kearse. And, knowing that LV is more than likely not going to be here 2023 along with Jaron Kearse, I felt like getting him and giving him some playing time this year, and then building your core around Cox and Harris and Micah Parsons, that's a pretty scary trio right there.
Yeah, Christian Harris is a monster. I have him higher on my board as a draft prospect than the person I picked, but due to positional value, I went with my person, which people will put into their boards. Just how it is. That's why quarterbacks always go in the top. Even there's a bunch of quarterbacks that are second, third round quarterbacks. They're going to end up going in the top 20, probably.
Ugh.
One or two of them, because they're quarterbacks. So my pick was rated less than Christian Harris. So that tells you how much I like him. It's just, I thought of it as like, I got Parsons, I got Cox, I got Kearse. LVE, if the defensive line's okay, can play okay. Christian Harris would be a huge upgrade. But I was like, I'll try to pick somebody up later on to fill the depth at linebacker, and I was going offensive line for mine.
So, Mike, at pick 56, who'd you take?
I went with Jamie Salyer, the offensive lineman out of Georgia. He'll be a guard for us, a left guard. But he also, my dogs really like that pick, obviously. He also has played tackle in college, so he has that versatility. If something happens, he could slide out if they feel more comfortable with McGovern at left guard than they do, say, Ball at left tackle.
Yeah.
Slide Salyer out for a little bit to cover for Tyron and let McGovern play and go from there. So I went with Salyer from Georgia. So we got Burks and Salyer and Burks and Harris.
Hey, I wouldn't be mad about either one of those scenarios, honestly.
No, me neither. That's nice. A legit number 2, possible number 1 wide, and a real middle linebacker that's really good versus the run and has the athletics to be a third down guy.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, a starting power guard that can play some tackle. Nothing wrong with that.
No, sir. All right, Mike, talk to us about your pick here at 88.
My pick at 88, Sam Williams. Again, this is what Dallas would do. I saw him there. He was the very next highest player. He hadn't been picked. Dan Quinn likes him. The team, it's been rumored they'll take him at 56. I don't see that happening in any way, shape, or form. I think that's a smokescreen. He's not valued there with his off the field stuff and his and the way he rushes. He's not that type of edge rusher that should go that high. So if he falls to 88, I think Dallas would snatch him up then, and so that's what I did.
Well, Mike, about my guy, I'm not sure if he's actually going to be here at 88 after listening to you and Ian Cummings a couple weeks ago talk about this player, but I went same position. I went with edge, but I actually went with Drake Jackson out of USC.
He's been slipping more and more. I like that value at 88. I believe I have him higher than Sam Williams. I'd have to check. I'm pretty sure I do because of the character concerns. Yeah. I think I had Sam Williams as really a early day 3 guy because of his lack of bend, his lack of flexibility, and his off the field. That two things typically don't mix really well, with draft boards. And Drake Jackson I had at the end of the second round, so him falling all the way to the end of the third. I think that's a good value. 88's a spot that I don't want Jackson at 56, but at 88 I would like it. So
what would you need to see from him on what's missing from his game that you wouldn't like him at 56, but you like him at 88?
He's just, I don't think he can do a lot early. He's got some work to do. So he has tools that you could develop. But I think I believe Williams would be a better edge setter early. I think you can get more snaps out of Williams early, but he has less upside.
I
So
got you.
you need Quinn and them to do a job with Drake Jackson because he's more of a putty, a ball of clay, a better ball of clay than Sam Williams. Is a little bit more finished, but you can't mold him as much. He just doesn't have the ability the other does.
I got you. All right, Mike. Here we are with pick 20 or pick 129, our fourth round pick, and I selected Jesse Lukita, linebacker out of Penn State. What I read about him, I liked. I haven't done a lot of mock drafts this season. We discussed that earlier. So, do you know much about Jesse Lukita? I mean, would he be a good fit for this team? It kind of sounds like when you were breaking down Christian Harris that they do a lot of the same things, but maybe Christian Harris does it at a
Christian Harris more of a middle linebacker. I know. I'm pretty sure Lukita's not. I'm going to look up this here.
Actually, I'm sorry. He's a hybrid linebacker, kind of like a Curse. I don't know about how much he'll play at safety, but he's a good run stopper.
Yeah, he's the Penn State kid. Yeah, he's I think if you got him, you're looking at him to replace Curse. Play special to replace Curse in a couple years and be cheaper. Maybe even next year if you think you're comfortable with it. If Curse has some kind of drop off, Curse contract's pretty cheap, so I don't know why you would, but
exactly.
in a situation where this kid comes in and dominates, I think he would be more of that. He would be more of your big nickel. He fits Cox. I don't know. The minute you take Harris, I don't know if you need to take Lukita because you have Cox, you have Curse, you have Parsons.
Yeah.
So unless your plan is to just go, and they don't want to do this, so it's not going to happen. But unless your plan is just go Tank and Parsons, you're the edges.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you need Harris and Lukita.
Well, so what if Donovan Wilson were to go down? Then you could slide Jaron Curse to his spot and then have Lukita, right?
Yeah, that would probably be the bet. But man, Curse is really good at what he does, and I don't know if he would be as effective. So you'd be hurting two positions.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Lukita's very good on pass downs. So
no, Lukita is, but is he shut down a tight end like Curse does good? Like Curse basically eliminated the tight end. So I don't know if you want to move him from that spot. And if you did, wouldn't you start with Cox?
Yeah,
because Cox was brought in as a thing. I think if you went offensive lineman at the second pick, I think Lukita's value makes sense here.
Okay.
With Harris already, I don't know if you need Lukita. Was there? You don't have the thing in front of you. There wasn't an offensive lineman there worth it.
Let me look real quick because the reason I picked Lukita is because I told you I did 5 mock drafts, and he kind of like he was always there, and I liked what I was reading about him. So he was kind of essentially became my pet cat without subconsciously became my pet cat. So let me see who was there.
He's going to be a good player. Don't get me wrong. You didn't get a bad pick. It's a good value, good pick. Just if there was somebody that could play maybe a position that it's more of a need.
In this round, okay, there was an offensive tackle, Cordell Volson out of North Dakota State. And then there was, Tyrese Robinson. And then, Thomas Booker, interior defensive lineman out of Stanford. He's somebody that I have been looking at just about every draft that I've been taking. But outside of that, there's no guards. And the cornerbacks there, I don't know, reading their profiles weren't really guys I was interested in.
I don't hate Lukita now. That wasn't a bad pick. That's probably better. Now you just wish you had a different second pick. That's all.
Yes, sir. So, Mike, talk to us about your fourth round pick.
Dare Rosenthal, giant of a man out of Kentucky, an offensive tackle, 6'7", 329. He has some issues that is going to drop him lower than he should be dropped, and he has a chance to be. I like him because he has a chance, legitimately has a chance to be a very, very good Pro Bowl level tackle, and you can get him in at probably day 3 due to some concerns. So yeah, I like that. I think value wise, that's my guy right there.
Are we talking off the field concerns or injury concerns or what?
It's injury. I wouldn't give him off the field. I'm not going to do that to him. it's injury stuff. I'm going to my notes on him right now. I switched it to look at Lukita, and it was sorry, this is terrible.
No, you're fine. I just I wish I knew more. I wish I had done more mock drafts. You didn't have to know everything about everybody.
Well, it's the thing is, I was trying to find out what he got in trouble for.
Okay.
Before I put out that
Before we put that label on there.
Yeah, because I know there was a suspension involved, but I was hoping in my notes I could find out what it was for, but I didn't have that down. And when you do so many players, you don't remember what every suspension is for every person. So I was hoping to find that before I jumped it out there. So he was suspended. It's something that teams will look at and that will drop him, but I don't have in there what is the exact details. Gotcha. But then it's the reason that a person would go to round 3 when he has the frame and the raw ability to be a day 2 pick.
I got you. And so repeat that player again.
His name is Dare Rosenthal.
Dare Rosenthal,
offensive tackle from Kentucky.
Oh, okay. Man, it seems like Kentucky's got a lot of impact players in this draft.
Yeah, offensive line to the center up, Faulkner.
Yeah, Luke Faulkner.
Yeah, that's another one. Their offensive line was pretty damn stout, dude. They had some good guys on that line.
Yeah. All right, Mike, talk to us about pick 155.
I took Ladarius. I put White. Oh, I'm gonna mess the name up. Hold on, Ladarius White. Let me make sure I say that right. Oh, Zaquandre White.
Running back out of South Carolina, huh?
Yeah, and my thought was Pollard is on a 1-year deal, and he's such a good, efficient running back that he's going to get paid by somebody a really good chunk of money. And with the money we're spending on Zeke, there's no way, even if it's not top of the market money, that we're going to be able to keep it. And this kid kind of he's probably a bigger built up the middle runner, but he does multiple things. He's multiple faceted. And I wanted a guy like that to get a year to like build up, and then he could kind of come in and be the guy on day 3. That was my guy. I forgot that I put White, and I meant to put his first name down, and I didn't. And I was like, oh shoot, I never went back and did that. So yeah, Zaquandre White, running back out of South Carolina. The team, that's a sneaky need too.
Oh yeah.
Zeke and Pollard could both be gone after this season, legitimately, because of money concerns, and we have Dowd then. So it might be good to get a year ahead of that.
Right. Yeah, a running back that I was tempted to keep drafting was Damian Pierce, running back out of Florida.
Love him. One of my absolute favorites. It's just he went a round earlier, and I didn't really want to get running back in that spot. We don't. It's just not going to be impactful this year like that. So I wanted to get a later developmental one. It
was him, Jerome Ford, and Brian Robinson Jr. I'm like, this might be a savvy pick, but at the same time, it's like even when Zeke is hurt, he's still going to get playing time over a healthy Pollard. So it's like, why am I wasting a pick on a running back? You know what I mean?
Just kill me.
Yeah. Mike, you're going to really love this pick here. I'll pick 155. I took your boy, Damone Clark, another linebacker out of LSU.
I love him. Now, here's the thing. He has a big injury thing going, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. So that's why he's dropped this far. He could still go in the 5th round. That's how talented he is.
Right.
And with that many 5th-round picks, I love that. I would definitely risk one on Damone Clark. He has Parsons level raw ability. He just has to be able to see it and put it together like Parsons.
I was, the reason I took him actually is because I kept missing out on him in the 4 previous mocks. I'm like, I'm not going to miss out on this time. And I don't care how many linebackers I have. I'm coming away with Damone Clark this time.
I was going to say, dude, you're really hating that 2nd round pick right now. Christian Harris was like, damn, what a good value. What a good get at 56. And you go through the rest of your mock and you're like, damn, I should have got that offensive guard, man.
But how would you feel if it's Cox, Harris, and Damone Clark 2024, and then Micah Parsons is now our edge rusher, our permanent edge rusher?
I know, but 2024.
Or, even 2020. What about 2023? Sorry, 2023.
It's day 3, so that's kind of what you're doing, is looking for guys like that. So it's not bad. That's like Dan hates your draft. 3 linebackers in the top 5 picks. 3 linebackers.
Hey, 3 really good linebackers, though.
Yes, and one is a flyer, so he's
Yeah.
not going to be there next year. It's kind of like trading the pick. Hey, we'll give up a 5th now to get a 3rd next year.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when you put it that way, I feel a lot better about this pick, Mike. Thank you.
If he comes back from injury, he's talented. He's day 2 talented. Early day 2 talent.
All right, Mike. Here we are, pick 167. I'll go first this time. And here at pick 167, I took Chris Owens, interior offensive lineman out of Alabama. Sir, he could be a swing tackle. He can play center. He played multiple positions on the offensive line. Just sounds like a player that you want to have, you can develop. And if he can become your swing tackle, awesome. Maybe he can be your new center. And, year 2 or year 3 of his contract, even better.
He fits Dallas too. Big school,
position
flex, position versatility. I can't remember his length off the top of my head. What's his height and weight again?
6'3", 315.
6'3", 315. So, they'll want to play him more inside. But in a pinch, Brandon Knight had to play tackle, and they won games with him a few times. So, they'll move him outside if need be. They love the big school. They love Alabama especially. So, I think that's a pick that's definitely possible for Dallas.
Yeah, it says here ideal role, developmental guard or swing tackle, sir.
Yeah.
What about you? Who'd you pick at 167?
I went with my linebacker. I finally picked one, but he's a safety. Dane Belton. He's out of Iowa, 6'1", 205.
Dude, love that pick, bro.
Yeah, he's the linebacker. He's a tackler. He can cover. He would be a Jaron Kearse role.
Yes.
You pick him there and go, you got the tight end. And like you said, it's probably a 2024 pick, but he's going to give you special teams work while he builds into that. So, you have Kearse the next year or 2. You give him 2 years to learn under it, play really good special teams, maybe play a game or 2 here or there because of injury. And then in 2024, he steps in and starts doing the job.
Yes, sir. You mentioned Jaron Kearse. We talked about him a lot. Smoke Monday was somebody I mock drafted a couple of times, and it literally says in his profile that he's like Jaron Kearse.
Yeah, I love Smoke Monday. First of all, the name. Is that who you drafted? Smoke? Is that your next pick?
No, I drafted him in a couple of other mocks.
Me too. I did too. He didn't end up making the final one that I kept.
Yeah.
But Smoke Monday was in 2 of my mocks.
All right, Mike, let's wrap it up. Talk to us about the rest of your draft picks, the upside potential guys.
I only did the other 2 5th rounds because I didn't know how far into the 5th we would go. So I got Charlie Kohler, tight end out of Iowa State, 6'6", 255. He sounds enormous. He's actually rather thinly, you think 6'6", 255, you think a bigger dude. Now he looks lanky. He looks like a flex tight end, like a guy you flex out. Yeah. Now, there's no tight ends that are real blockers anymore. There's a Ferguson and Bellinger, but they're not. They just aren't great blockers anymore. This guy puts in effort. He has the size and length to be a good blocker.
Yeah.
This has to be taught. Red zone threat because of his size, catches everything. His hands and his height are definitely the weapons because you throw him up the seam and you throw him the ball in a time where you can't really deck a guy over the middle anymore. He just goes up and snags the ball. So I like Charlie Kohler as a tight end weapon. Develop him this year under Schultz. Schultz moves on, gets you the comp pick. You hope he can be your guy the next year. And then I got Naylor, the wide receiver out of Michigan State. He's more of a slot guy. He's not small. He's almost 6 foot, which we know Dallas likes. Right. But he's the shifty. he's a vertical threat guy. I apologize. Special teamer, vertical threat guy. He averaged like 17 and a half yards per catch. He was a big play guy and a special teams guy, a post runner. He needs to, work on his releases and making sure he doesn't get pressed and his routes underneath. But as far as like double moves, posts, verticals, that's his go-to. And then you add that to the special teams, and I like him late. He's a guy you can put out there for trick plays, for big play opportunities. He'll play special teams for you, and you can kind of develop him as a receiver.
Yeah, I like that. Well, Mike, for me and my guys, that I rounded off the draft with, I have, we already talked about Chris Owens. I have the Sessi Otomiwa, edge out of Minnesota. Just it's a Tracy guy, defensive end. Edge is always somebody if you can get.
He's the really heavy guy, right? Isn't he like 275, 280?
6'6", 282.
Yeah. But he plays base end. He plays 4-3 in. Yeah, that's crazy. I was just watching him. That's like the last guy I watched was that guy. And man, if he don't fit Dan Quinn, long, big, strong, traitsy, he definitely could. He absolutely fits in what Dan Quinn wants on his D line.
And can play inside and outside.
All day. That size, he sounds like a 3 technique. But he legit plays base in.
And then I had Donovan West, interior offensive lineman out of Arizona State. Another versatile guy, interior lineman, but with true positional versatility, good in the run game. And then I finished the draft pick 193. Now, my last pick is Josh Thompson, cornerback out of Texas, 5'11 and a half, 194. I know that's, he's shorter than the Cowboys like. However, he he's physical and he has the ability to play safety if need be.
That I just want to put out that Donovan West was. I asked about him. He was. I looked at him about 5 players ago, and I asked a question to the draft show, and they answered it about Donovan West. And Brian Broaddus was basically like, "Nah, I don't really like him." I liked him. I like him for a day 3. I like his versatility because he's big enough to play guard, but he's like an Andre Garode size center,
Yeah.
So, though you picked 2 players that I just recently watched within the last week.
Hey, that's a victory in my book, sir.
Hopefully, doesn't mean they were good. That
exactly.
That Minnesota kid fits Quint like. That would not shock me in the least if they didn't go edge in the first 4 rounds. If it just played out where they were like wide receiver, offensive line, offensive tackle, tight end, and they get into day 3, that absolutely could be a guy they pick.
Yep. One thing I've noticed, Mike, is you're hearing a lot about how teams are more willing to trade back than to trade up, and it's a lot easier to trade up than it would be in years past. I feel like this is a draft where you just kind of take your guys regardless of like where they're, I guess, ranked. Like if it's your guy, maybe it's a round early, just take him and move on.
Yeah. This is a get bullets draft. So I would not argue at all if you traded down from 24 just to get because there's not a lot of day 1 draft picks in this class. Like you could legitimately say there's like 11 to 17 day 1 grade players, but day 2 you could fit it. There's a lot of guys that are going to go in day 3 that are day 2 players. So that's a big difference in this draft. I think it's not top heavy, but that second day has a lot. Start of the second half, Mavs are up 54-36.
Love to hear that, sir. Mike, I talked a little bit about my pet cat earlier, linebacker Jesse Lukita out of Penn State. Who's yours?
I picked one. One of them, Dare Rosenthal, offensive tackle out of Kentucky. He's my offensive one. I wanted to throw that out there because I already talked about him, so I was just letting you all know that is my pet cat. Arnold, I call him Ibaitai because that's how you spell it. So I say that in my head to make sure I spell it right.
Yeah.
Ebakite?
Arnold Ebakite.
Yeah, the defensive end out of Penn State. That's never happened to me where I put the spelling pronunciation in and it made me mess up how you actually say it. I've never had that happen till just right now. But the way you spell his name is E-Bike, B-I-K-E,
Mm-hmm.
Tie. So in order to spell his name when I was doing stuff, I kept saying e-bike tie, e-bike tie, e-bike. Then I looked at it and was like, oh shit, his name is not e-bike tie. How the hell do you say that name? Ebakite, I believe is what it is. But he's an edge out of Penn State. I snuck him into the first round. I won't say I had a first round grade on him.
Yeah.
But I think he may come into the back of the first round if wide receivers are gone. It could be a position that the bottom of the first round attacks as edge.
You think maybe the Lions or Rams or something, or is that what you're thinking there?
Yeah, like Rams could be a good one because Von Miller. I believe Green Bay could be a good one because of Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
Not Tampa. There was one other one in there. Chiefs could be one that would sneak an edge.
Or Cincinnati still has their pick too, right?
Yeah, Cincinnati
could use
edge too. So I think they'll go offensive line, but an edge would help them because they lost Carl Lawson and Trey Hendrickson's good, but you can improve on that.
Yeah, for sure. So Mike, is there one player? Which one player would be your dream pick of the draft?
Take a guess.
Take a guess.
This is easy.
Man. We haven't talked drafts that much, but hold on.
I know, but just think of how I am about. I've literally had rants about this position.
Jordan Davis.
Easy. It's not even close.
Have you heard anything? Because you're a little bit more, or not a little bit more, but you're a lot more.
He won't make 24.
But no, I'm just saying, have you heard anything about a potential trade up if he falls to 15 or 18?
If they traded up, it would be for Kayvon Thibodeau. It would be for Charles Cross. Those are the two players that if they fell into that 10 to 12 range, they would move up to get them.
How would you feel about a Kayvon Thibodeau trade?
All day. I don't care if he likes the brand. That's fine. Brand yourself. You're a lot better player than I loved. In 2018, we all loved Jalen Smith swiping.
All of us.
If
Hot boys,
ball, if you ball out, you're good.
You can swipe whenever you want. Yeah.
And Thibodeau's a monster. He's, I think, my edge 2. I'd have to go back and look. I know Jermaine Johnson's my 1. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 are basically interchangeable. It's Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, and Thibodeau are all 2 through 4 are all interchangeable. You could put whatever one you want. Just Jermaine Johnson's my 1. And I don't care what John Owing or Massey say. That's my 1 because I think he's a complete. I think he can beat you in every way an edge can beat you, where others are limited to certain ways of winning. If you're not long enough, he'll beat you with length. If you're not strong enough, he'll bull you over. If you're not quick enough, he'll run around you. He just does everything at a good level. So he does. There's not a lot of great in the league. You know what I mean? So how many times are you going to face Tyron Smith and Trent Williams? Right. And those elite guys. And when he goes against other guys, there's guys that are Armstead's good against faster guys. He could struggle versus some power. Where Jermaine Johnson can bring power to the table. There's guys that are good versus they're real big power guys, but they can be beat with quickness, inside moves around. Jermaine Johnson does that. He does nothing at an elite level, but he does everything good. Everything. He doesn't have a deficiency. He even covered well in the year that they had him do that. He was decent in the flats. He's not taking away a tight end one-on-one, but he was good for an edge rusher. He was good at getting out there if you need to do that, a couple times a game. He can survive out there. So I just love Jermaine Johnson. I think he's going to go in the top 10.
Yeah, for me, Mike, my 1 player would be a dream pick. It's going to be wide receiver Jamison Williams out of Alabama. Reason being is, you love that speed, you love that skill set. He's got he's a little bit smaller than, you'd want maybe your wide receiver 1 to be, but he wouldn't have to be wide receiver 1 this year. And you mentioned earlier, we probably won't re-sign Lamb. So if you have draft Jamison this year, and again, with that skill set to complement Gallup, if we do lose Lamb, that would ease that pain.
Yeah, Jamison Williams is a get Dax Pecker hard pick. That's what that is. That guy.
That's what I'm gonna name the show now. Jamison Williams, blue pill or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the Viagra pill.
Or Dak Viagra.
Yes. He would love that pick. There's a reason he loves Olave so much. And Jamison Williams is basically better in every way than Olave, who's also good. It's not a shot. But they're both speed guys, and Jamison Williams breaks tackles a little bit. Not as good a route runner. That's not true. Olave is special
technician.
Route runner. But he's like Olave is like runs fast on a 40 time, but he's not fast like Jamison Williams is on the field. Like you see Jamison Williams' speed on the field. Mm-hmm. You don't see it as much with Olave. He's more smooth. He's more of a technician, route runner. So yeah, Jamison Williams would be, man, I would love that.
Olave sounds a lot like a guy we just traded away.
Yeah. Yeah. He pretty much don't even get me started. Cooper's better because he's a little bit better break tackler, but not much. Like Cooper wasn't known for catching it, breaking a tackle, and going all the way. That wasn't his thing. So yeah, that's a good comp as Amari Cooper to Olave.
All right, sir, Mike. Fill in the blank here. If the Cowboys draft blank, it will be a nightmare.
Tyler Smith. So he's an offensive lineman out of Tulsa.
Okay.
Dallas will never do it. It's been mocked to them. First of all, Dallas ain't taking a player from Tulsa in the first round. So it's out.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then he's developmental. He's going to be a good player, but he's got a year or two before he's really ready to play at a level for a contending team, and especially in this division with the monster defensive lines that the Eagles, the Giants, and the Commanders have put together. So, yeah, that would be a nightmare scenario. Now, remember, last year, my nightmare scenario is the jersey that I'm wearing. A nightmare. The best player in the draft was a nightmare scenario to me. Why are you listening?
Dude.
Just shut it off. Golly, I am the worst ever. I wasn't the only one, though, like Kavanaugh. There was some, brought it. There was some other ones that didn't like that either. So maybe give me a break a little bit,
Dude, that draft, of course, Dak Prescott in the 4th round is always going to be like the biggest Cowboy steal in probably history, or, one of them. But just even Micah Parsons not going 1-1 and, the player that he is, dude, that feels like one of the biggest steals in Cowboys history, dude.
Yeah, he would be. The only reason is Dak is if they win it all and he's the QB, because the QB gets so much, 4th round Dak's amazing, but man, Michael Parsons looks like not just one of those where he's like, oh, you got the best player in the draft, but he could be like generational
talent, dude.
One of those guys. And I don't know, you guys know me. I love that franchise quarterback, QB1, star, top 5 to 10 quarterback in the league. I don't ever know if he'll be generational. Michael Parsons has a chance to be one of the Mike Singletary, Ray Lewis, Dick Butkus, one of those line of
legendaries.
Guys. Yes. Yeah. He had one of those type of rookie seasons, like one of the ones that builds on a legend. First of all, he calls his shot to Dallas. This is where I want to go. Did it for like a year, then goes there and gets forget rookie of the year, gets defensive player of the year votes, 5 of them, and is an all-pro.
Dude, ridiculous. So for me, Mike, fill in the blank. If the Cowboys draft Daxton Hill, it will be a nightmare for opposing offenses, excuse me.
Okay, I was going to say.
I did a couple. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I perked up like, excuse me? Daxton Hill. But you did a good job of flipping that.
Yeah, I kind of cheated there, sir.
Yeah, a little bit. You got me because I was like, we're going to fight. That was my exact thought was like, we're going to fight right now because Daxton Hill, in no way do I want Daxton Hill. We have safeties the next 2 years. We're good. We're set up. We can get a later safety. We're fine. That being said, Daxton Hill, he's slot corner safety. He's free safety and move into the slot when a third wide receiver comes. Like, he's more. He's a chess piece. So give me those guys, because you get chess pieces like Micah Parsons, like Cox should be, like Curse is, because Curse is a different type of chess piece. But make no mistake, if you can play in the box as a linebacker and eliminate the tight end like a elite covering safety, you're a weapon. And then a Trayvon Diggs isn't a utility piece. He isn't a piece, but we know what he is.
Right.
You get those type of things on a defense together, terrifying.
If we took Daxton Hill over Burks and Zion Johnson, would you be upset?
I would. Yeah, he's not. I don't have him that high. I have Burks and Johnson as better players. As they're Daxton Hill's a first round grade that you could talk to me is a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can talk me into he's a 1-2. He's at that borderline. Zion Johnson was a 2 pre-combine, and then he put up like as elite testing numbers as you can get, and that will move you up. Like, this ain't your normal. He tested as the 33rd highest tested guard ever in 25 years plus doing it. So yeah, he was really good. And then Burks I have as a round 1, so as a solid right in there round 1. So yeah, I would say that they overreached if they let Zion or Burks go to get him.
What if it was like a trade back? Green Bay traded us 28 in their third, and they wanted 24, and we took them at 28.
I'm good there. It would, depending on if Zion Johnson and Burks get picked in between. You could talk me into Hill. Nah, I would want Green. I was gonna say if the knee was a real concern, you could talk me into it. But word is it isn't. It's not a big concern like that. So, yeah, Green would be my Green. I would go Green. But after that, you can talk me into Daxton Hill.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to shout out to Mr. Elton Costin. You can find him on Twitter at DC2423. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, it is. Again, it's DC2423. A couple months ago, he selected our topic that we'll be discussing tonight. Of course, I'm referring to, or excuse me, not of course, but he suggested our top 5 topics tonight, and that being Marvel movies. And when he suggested it, I reached out to Mike and I was like, hey, I feel like we should do some research here, just because, man, there's so many good movies. There's some I haven't seen. And I felt like, I don't think I could really do this category and topic justice without, kind of sitting down, even with a pen and paper, and going over the ones that I've liked and seen and everything. So we took some time, and we thought it'd be a good time to bring it back with the first episode of the new season. So without further ado, Mike, talk to us about your pick number 5 on your top 5 Marvel movies.
5 was the hardest because I kind of did Ragnarok out of respect.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I love Thor Ragnarok. It's so funny and it's so original and different. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a big fan of the first 2 Thors. The second one is in my top 3 worst Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And the way Taika Watt switched the whole thing up and said, "Nah, we got to do this different. We got to make this a comedy and just change your character," was brilliant, because there's no real threat to Thor. Like, he's a god. It's hard to pull. It's like Superman movies. It's hard to pull off a threat to him.
Yeah. Right.
And so you package it in a comedy form and do it really well. And it just fits better. Now, the one that I took out was the latest, and I did it out of longevity because I think Spider-Man No Way Home I like better.
Oh, right.
But Thor Ragnarok has been in my top 5 for so long,
and
I moved 2 new ones into my top.
Don't spoil it.
I moved Winter Soldier out. I moved out, and Winter Soldier was my second favorite for the longest time.
Yeah.
But we've gotten so far in with so many different characters and so much storyline that I feel that one's back far enough that it's like, it's Cap, it's Black Widow, it's, the Winter Soldier who's now a good guy. Like, it's an amazing, probably the best action movie of all of them, other than maybe Infinity War. But I moved it out because there's just too much other, you get 4 or 5 friggin' heroes per movie basically now. So it's hard to justify keeping that one in there. And then I had moved out No Way Home and kept Ragnarok. So those were my 2 ones that I had to move out of my initial top 5 and make adjustments.
What's funny about the Thor franchise as a whole, I think it's really solid. It doesn't get enough respect. That being said, Thor Ragnarok, I really liked it, but the humor, I felt like after a while it started to wear on me, and it tried too hard to be funny. It kind of got on my nerves.
You're dead to me then. Plain and simple.
I love Jeff Goldblum, but it's just so much.
Dude, that's my favorite in that. I love Jeff Goldblum. That's my favorite one. He's like, I don't need the stick. I don't need the melting stick. I don't know. It just unique. He eccentric and unique and it was just so much different. I didn't the first Thor was like, okay, that was cool. Good, start. And the second one was just, I just didn't like it at all. Like, it may be my worst Marvel movie. I don't like that one. Since Disney took over, the worst Marvel movie that's under the Disney Marvel franchise. And so the way they flipped it and turned it, and man, Krog or Krull, God, man. He's so funny, the Rock dude, and
oh God, yeah.
I just like the Hulk and him and baby arms. Like, who tells Thor they have baby arms, dude? Like, I mean, Hulk's like, they're like little kids. Like, they basically wrote them as like if they were young, like 6-7-year-old brothers,
right?
Like, stupid fighting, but one's a god and one's like an unkillable monster.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the idea. 74-46 Mavericks.
Woo! Lord have mercy. I feel bad for the Jazz. Not really, though. My number 5 on my list, I'm going with Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Legend. You're not going to get me to complain about pretty much any of these that I can, unless you throw like a Captain Marvel, a Thor Dark World, one of the later Iron Mans. If you throw that in your top 5, we might have to fight. But
I thought Captain Marvel was a solid movie for what it's worth. Not top 5, but it's a good movie.
Yeah. I think it gets overly killed. A little bit of that is due to the Brie Larson, and they just don't like her and the female hero. Rey got it too on Star Wars. Some people just don't like that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Female can be the hero. That doesn't bother me any. I don't give a shit.
And it was kind of hard because Guardians of the Galaxy 2 kind of had a little bit more memorable one-liners, and it was a lot funnier than the first one. But when I compared them both, the first one is just a better overall movie, and it even itself is really funny too.
Yeah, I would put one first. Also, I put them both 8 out of 10, so I ranked them. Okay. 8 out of 10 on IMDb. I love both movies, and Kurt Russell's so good, but fighting a planet, compared to the battle against Ronan, and that I liked Ronan better as. Man, I like Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's character I like better than Ronan.
Yeah.
But the final battle facing like a planet and stuff like that isn't as cool as like facing Ronan with an Infinity Stone,
Right,
so I agree with you. I'm for the first one also.
So number 4 on my list, Mike, I don't think you're gonna get any I'm gonna get any argument from you, but I'm going Ant-Man, dude. It took me forever to finally see it. But then when I finally got to witness its greatness, man, it just immediately jumped into the top 10. And then with the rewatchability, it slowly started creeping up higher and higher.
You would be shocked at Ant-Man because Paul Rudd's basically my favorite actor.
Yes.
Just so you guys know, I love him. I love everything he does. I would watch him on late night shows go on, more than I would watch some movies of other people. Like he's that
wow.
amazing. Yeah. He goes on Conan and does this thing where he puts, it's not a clip, it's a clip from a movie from like the 80s. And every time he's like, no, this time I got a clip. And every time it's the same stupid clip. And he goes on the podcast where nobody else can see the video, and he still does that joke. And Conan's like, it doesn't work on the podcast. Nobody sees the video. And he's like, but it worked on you. So that's all that matters. I don't have it in my top 5, but imagine if you took a Paul Rudd comedy and allowed him to have Marvel's money behind it and action scenes and stuff. But it really is written like a Paul Rudd, like family style, like humorous. It's brilliant. It's so good. You're talking the first one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's so good.
The second one was really funny too. And it's a good movie, but it's not as good as the first, in my opinion.
The talking part where it has the dude talking, and all of them like mimic his inflections.
Yeah,
his voiceover. I can't watch it without like laughing to tears every time it's on. But yeah, Ant-Man 1 was better though. I'm not gonna lie.
The Hispanic guy in the second one, dude, just really freaking steals it, bro.
He is, great. And it's a Paul Rudd comedy.
Yeah,
he knows how. And the thing that's amazing, I've probably talked about it on the show before, but I'll say it again. Paul Rudd's the only one of the Avengers that knows the actual script, and it's because he writes the Ant-Man parts. He's one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so he knows which script is real when they put those out, because he has to be able to be involved in the writing of his parts.
Oh, that's really cool. Shout out to Paul Rudd, man, because I remember first seeing him in Clueless, and he's just become like a freaking megastar, dude. And
never aged somehow.
I know. And doesn't look like he's ever had plastic surgery. I don't know if that's possible or not, but yeah, he has not aged a single bit. Not a day.
That's living stress-free, man.
Right.
That's to him.
True that. All right, Mike, number 4 on your list.
Number 4. All right. I will probably get controversy for this, and I don't care.
Can I guess?
Huh?
Can I guess?
Yes.
You're okay. When you said controversy, so maybe this is not going to be it. I'm going to change my guess, but I'm going to go. I don't know. I'm going to go the second Venom.
No, my top 5 only has movies from Marvel, Disney.
Okay.
I tried to get Blade in there, and
oh, dude, that'd have been cool.
I really could have got the first Blade in, but I was like, you know what?
The first Blade's amazing.
It really is. And respect to Wesley Snipes. I know they're rebooting it. I hope they find a role for him.
They're rebooting it?
Yeah, they're coming out. It's Mustafa Ali.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's a wrestler. It's the guy who won the Academy Award for Moonlight. He was in True Detective.
Yeah. I know
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
God, I have the wrestler. Mustafa Ali's a wrestler in WWE.
Yeah.
But he's going to be Blade, and I'm hoping the Chris Christopherson character from the Blade movies can be picked up by Wesley Snipes. But I don't know if they'll work that out. I just hope so, because like he was the first rated R Marvel. Like he was the Blade. Like he was a badass. He made a ton of money for them, and just don't like leave him out. You know what I mean? Like put him in there. Respect to that.
Crazy to think that's a Marvel movie, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? It should have been 5th, but I stuck with the Disney theme. My 4 is Shang-Chi.
Hey, the 10 Rings.
Woo. I don't care who argues with it. I love that movie. It's funny. The action's amazing and put together by Jackie Chan's fight coordinators. It's the most beautifully shot movie in all of Marvel. I don't care what you say. It's the best cinematography in any of the movies, and their characters are also it's like so shockingly funny. I did not expect it to be so funny.
Awkwafina is hilarious, dude.
She's so good in it. And the way they weave in it, like I know the Mandarin, quote unquote, the 10 Rings guy is a bad guy, but like he's being fooled. Like he's in his mind, he's trying to break out his wife.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just thought it's
almost like a love story, dude.
Yeah, it was different and unique, and the way they they did it was just, man, it was really good. And it's one of the only ones I have that doesn't have, 50 heroes in it. It's like a new property. Shang-Chi's your hero.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's your villain, and this is the story of what happened between them. It's just it's just different and unique, and I really, really, really like it. So I got it into my top 5.
This is a random question, kind of off topic, but are you a fan of the movie Crazy Rich Asians?
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, it is.
Really funny movie.
Great movie. Sorry.
No, you're good. My neighbor was half white, half Chinese, and she loved that movie. And she was like, "You have to watch it, this and that." So I watched it. It was really it was a good movie. Really
good movie. Yes, sir. So, okay, Mike, back to the list. What's number 3?
All right. So this is new to my top 5. I didn't have this movie in my top 5. It was a fantastic ending. But when I first saw it, I was like, nah, it's all right. Good ending. But I got Endgame up there. And the reason I got Endgame in is, one, it is the closer. 2, it is that final fight. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
But the other reason I got it in there is, like, when it comes on like TNT, I just watch. It's one of those ones I just put on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't do that for I don't do that for Ragnarok. I don't do that for Winter Soldier. I don't do that. When Endgame comes on, that movie is on. It plays. It's like Harry Potter coming on. Just put it on, let it play, do your writing, and it could be on the background. And so finally I was like, how are you not going to put this movie that has the ending to the friggin' Infinity War saga, such a build to that? The story's great. The fighting's amazing. The big, huge moment on the end with the Avengers Assemble. It's too much not to put in your top 5. So I got it in there.
I'm mad at you, sir. Number 3 for me, Mike, it's going to be Avengers Infinity War, sir. The not the prequel, but the first part of that movie, or of that series, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, anybody that knows anything about me knows how I feel about Avengers Infinity War. It's perfect. The movie's perfect.
I'll never forget the first time I saw when Spider-Man was laying in Iron Man's arms. It's like
improv. He improv that whole part.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the whole thing where he's like, I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. He improved it right there on the spot.
Holy cow.
Yeah, Tom Holland is a beast. You don't get Zendaya for no reason, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to be more than just a bro to get her, I assume, right?
Yeah. You got to be a legit Spider-Man.
All right, Mike, number 2 on my list. I'm going with Spider-Man Far From Home.
Far From Home. So you're talking about Mysterio.
The Mysterio. Say what you will about it, but I don't know why, man. I loved it.
I think that's the most underrated movie in the Marvel universe. It did not make my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because people forget this movie had to go after the Infinity Saga. So it goes Infinity War, and then Ant-Man Wasp, and then Endgame, and some movie had to come in and follow it, and Mysterio had to come in and follow Thanos. And the way they pulled it, it's just you couldn't have a guy really be a villain, come in and be a real that's going to make you think anything about it. You just fought Thanos.
Right.
Like, it's just not. So the way they pulled him off as he was basically a cornball. He was a con man. He wasn't even a real villain.
Like a weasel guy, dude.
And he nailed it. Jake Gyllenhaal nailed it. The writers nailed it. They anybody that read the comics knew this was bullshit from the start of the movie. If you read the comics, you're like, we know you're the bad guy, dude. Stop trying to pull it off. And they still pulled it off perfect when he's in the bar and the way he celebrates.
Yeah, that was sick, dude.
And then it was perfect. And then exposing the identity at the end to make it. It's how you really made him memorable. Instead of it just being, he was a con man, he got beat, whatever. No, he's basically caused the multiverse to happen. Because now, don't get me wrong, obviously, if you watch the Loki show, other factors are involved. but the Jake Gyllenhaal just wasn't like a weasel, fake bad guy con man. Like, he caused everything by exposing the identity and making people think that Spider-Man was a bad guy. It's you're not going to get a complaint from me.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they're like true to the comics and everything, and they said they didn't really like Far From Home only because Mysterio wasn't as powerful as he was in the comics, like as he could have been.
Yeah, they made it about Stark's technology more.
Yeah,
because it's hard. They weren't trying to pull off a supervillain.
yeah,
They were trying to do something like, look, at any supervillain we try to do is not going to work. We just fought Thanos, so they did it. It was perfect. You did it. It didn't allow you to fatigue on supervillain. You got to wait to get King the Conqueror. If you do King the Conqueror right away, dude, we just fought Thanos. Damn, another guy. Like, you got to build up to that next guy.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So, Mike, what's number 2 on your list?
Civil War. I love that movie. It has everybody. It's the introduction to Spider-Man. It's the introduction to Black Panther. the way the Winter Soldier just like fights everyone. He's just like, they put in that programming. He's like, all right, we're fighting. He just, any superhero that comes, he just fights with them. It just, I seriously, it's one of my favorite. And then the battle at the end with the two sides, and they're not really going all at it together. And then the fact that Tony like kind of F's up, like, he does all this stuff. And then at the end, when it's his, something that affects him, look how quick it turns.
Yeah.
Where it shows the difference between Captain America and him. Captain America always is by his principles. Always. It never changes. And Tony Stark is not that way. He's, oh, you did something to me? All right, I'm flipping. Like, now I'm going at, just it was really well done, and it's a really good way of showcasing the differences in these superheroes. And really, because it was a Captain America movie, it was about showing the difference between Captain America and everyone else, like why he's Captain America. Just he always is going to be that one way. He's always going to be about his principles. So I love that movie.
That end fight scene though is epic, dude.
Oh, I know. Just unbelievable. Not as good as number 1, but pretty good.
Well, Mike, speaking of number 1, hit us with it.
Infinity War. Perfect movie. The movie's perfect. The battling is amazing. They made everyone look good. But in the end, Thanos wins. It shocks everyone. When Black Panther disappears, the crowd audibly gasped in the theater. Like, it's not just my favorite Marvel movie. It's in my top 5 all-time movies. Up there with Shawshank Redemption, Usual Suspects, Infinity War is right in there with those. Like, it's just incredible.
It's funny. It's Infinity War has the best ending, just as far as like dramatic. But then End of War, the introduction with Hawkeye and like his family, dude, and they just disappear out of nowhere. Endgame. That was, man, holy cow, dude.
So impactful.
Yeah.
Because it's like everyone, like, that's why Ronin happened. I mean, it's got to be something that level. They took everyone away.
All right, Mike, number 1 on my list, Iron Man, the first one. That is my that was like the first superhero movie I saw where it wasn't like super cheesy, over the top. It was, to me, it's a perfect movie, honestly.
Is it nostalgia? Like, do you still watch Iron Man 1 over all these new, with all the mini superheroes and everything? Is it nostalgia, like it was the first one? Or is it still your favorite movie?
I would say it's still my favorite. The one I definitely watched the most. It's one that, like, if I saw it on TV, I was scrolling, I would sit there and watch it till it was over. It has that effect on me.
Then that's the one. I had to tell my boss.
No, you're good. I'm kind of surprised. I guess it's I don't know. Some people that might not really care for it, but Avengers Ultron.
That's Mitchell's number one.
Is it really?
Yeah, he just because it sets the base for so much that happens afterwards.
Yeah.
The way the accords come into play, and the way a lot of the characters veer is because of the baselines they set up in Avengers: Age of Ultron. And he loves the villain that's like, he loves the peace in our time. Yeah, peace in our time because nobody exists. So of course there's peace, So that's his number one Marvel movie is Age of Ultron, and it's and he says he's like most people don't really like it like the others, but he's like it's my favorite.
Yeah, that could have made my top 5, but after ranking them, man, it wasn't as good as the other ones.
It's so hard. There's like another 4 in there that I want to put. That's like no Black Panther, no Spider-Man, No Way Home,
right?
No Captain America, Winter Soldier. Like it's crazy.
Yes, sir. Well, Mike, man, as always, I enjoyed the discussion tonight. While we're getting you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy. I got to call the other boss. I got my boss here. I got this boss, and I got KD. So I'm calling this boss next.
Yes, sir. Make sure to be on good terms with the one that pays you, right?
Yes. Well, he's also my best friend, so I want to stay on good terms with him for that too. That would be nice.
Exactly. Well, guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.